Test, test, test. Test, 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 test. Okay, we're on.
Yeah, that was a great.
Welcome to our media briefing today and access over the internet. We welcome those who are out there watching via live stream, and welcome any questions. So please send your questions in. We'll start with questions from the media.
Senator Adams, I wanted to ask you about the non-discrimination bill and the status of that, the negotiations.
It's ongoing. I walked in the room and said cautiously optimistic is my favorite phrase, and I'll probably hold that right now. But there's positive things going on, and it's not an easy. It's not easy, but I think it's positive right now. I will say that.
Any sticking points that you can disclose?
No, not right now. But my hope is that within a period of time that we'll give you something.
I understand maybe tomorrow.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? I can't tell you. Of course, some of us know what jackrabbits are. But one of my other favorite phrases are jackrabbits on a flatbed. And you get them all on, you can imagine how hard they are to keep there. So that feels like that process here is that, there are positive things going on, but whether hopefully things stay together, and if they do, hopefully tomorrow we might have something. Okay.
Are you doing plans on how you plan to present this bill? I mean, is there going to be a big, everybody holding hands right out press conference? Or?
If we can get all of it done, yes. If not, we'll go another direction. But again, cautiously optimistic. So, that'd be a great thing.
Spell cautiously for me?
Yes.
Just tell you one concern I have about that is when they come to an agreement and don't really have time to vet it, and let people come in and talk about it and look at the provisions, that's how you end up with bills. When you get through, you say, oh, I should have thought of this and should have thought of that. So it's difficult when you draft something in that closed group and come to an agreement to really have everybody else have a look at it.
And that's why we're pushing as hard as we can. My hope is that we can, and this bill is significant enough, it needs to have 2 hearings. It needs to have, and hopefully if we can get that done, we got to have a hearing in the Senate, a hearing in the House, and it may take a little extra effort to get done, but Senator Hilliard is exactly right, is that it needs to be vetted even after we seem to have some type of, if it comes out.
Do you feel like you have enough that everybody's going to be on board with this, or is this going to be fairly divisive? I
think I have enough that probably everybody's just going to be a little unhappy, and that's usually when you got consensus, okay? So I don't think you'll have enough that everybody, yes. I think there'll be some people that are thrilled and some people that aren't, but I think it will be an effort. And what we've always tried to do is the right thing. And the right thing is really hard to get to, but I think at the end of the day, we'll do what's right.
Any legal challenges you're anticipating to this? Is there any questionable?
All of them are legal challenges.
But I mean, is there anything in there that may raise red flags?
That's what we've been trying to work through. And hopefully not, okay?
Are you thinking you'll take this to caucus tomorrow then? If you do get the language.
Again, I'd like to, but I can't guarantee anything.
Any other questions?
You had a chance to see the House's Medicaid bill yet, and you have any thoughts about that, or where do you see this headed?
I've seen the House proposal, Utah Cares, and essentially it is a subset of the 0 to 100%. Looks like it's more than what's in Senator Christensen's bill, at least in my first look at the bill. And then PCN is the insurance for those in the gap that creates. So we'll cover those who are medically frail plus, and then PCN would be the coverage from to cover the rest of the folks that are not covered. That would leave those that are 100 to 138% in the exchange with the subsidies that they're already getting. So that's the proposal from the House, at least as far as I can tell. We're still looking at the details. We might even have a presentation in our caucus here in the next couple days, potentially, to get their view of it. As far as what it costs, at least from what I understand, it looks like it's going to cost $25 to $40 million ongoing. There has been a proposal out there to maybe weld those two ideas together and have Health Utah for the first 2 years, have a transition into the House proposal. That would actually be the most advantageous idea. That's been kind of floated out there a little bit. That might be the most advantageous idea financially for the state, because we take advantage of the 100% for the first 2 years, and then transition back to the Utah Cares plan, which provides more predictability, more sustainability going forward as far as the state budget is concerned. So I'm not sure where that's going at all. There's at least that idea out there. I don't know where the Senate would be on that idea. I'm not even sure where the House would be on that idea, but those are the things that are being floated around now.
Is it something that the Senate is even willing to consider?
Don't know, we haven't addressed our caucus on that issue.
Medical marijuana is coming up this afternoon, on a time certain. What's kind of the feeling about how that's going to fare in the Senate?
I wish Senator Madison was here, 'cause
I think he's still working on it.
I'm not sure if he's got the votes in the Senate. Obviously, I must think he does, or he maybe try and do something different. We'll see what happens this afternoon.
Do you have any concerns about it? Or?
Yeah, I still have some concerns about it. Just we're going to be growing, licensing growers here in Utah, and that's a new concept out there. I think that potentially is. We got to work that correctly to make sure that's going to be controlled. So I'm just kind of anxious to hear what the debate is and see how it goes, and we'll see where the vote lands this afternoon.
Does he have the votes to get it through?
I don't know. Do you have any comment?
I think, having talked with Senator Madsen, I think he's been working, as the committee asked him to do, to work with the Tax Commission and the Health Department and other departments of state to make sure that we get this down, as well as public safety. So hopefully, somewhere along the line, we may be able to get a bill that is workable.
Senator Davis, do you have has your caucus taken a position on it?
We have not.
Do you have a position on
I
this?
believe, well, I voted to get it out of committee only with the idea that we would move it forward with some changes. I think there's some real questions there, and the one thing that I think the senator needs to talk to is also the Department of Ag, to make sure that if we're going to go into that growing, that we understand what the federal laws are and the ramifications that they have to control themselves on.
But do you have a position on it? What do you think?
As it is right now, I don't think I would support it. It depends on how it's fine-tuned and what the final would be before we make that decision.
Senator Oakland, did you have any comments on it?
Yeah, we haven't had any lengthy discussion in caucus, nothing lately. So I've got the same concerns that everybody else has already mentioned. That is, how do we regulate who grows and how they grow, and then once it's harvested, how it's handled and distributed, and who sells, and the permitting and all of that goes along with it. I think it's very complicated. And it kind of came at us a little bit late. We do have it on our caucus agenda for tomorrow, but we will have one presentation on the floor. It's got a time certain this afternoon. The senator must feel some confidence that he can get it through second on the floor today before a caucus discussion tomorrow. So that's all I know at this point. I think it's still a moving target. I think there's still a lot of questions to be answered.
Do you think it could be better served by going to an interim study?
That's what I think we'll decide over the next week or so. If they can answer a lot of these questions and tie it up in a bill that we can get behind and forward it over to the House, it still has a chance of making it. It's got time to make it. if they can answer all of the questions. But it's very complicated. It may take more time than this session.
Do you think that it has the votes to get out?
I have no idea. I haven't polled the caucus at all.
Any other questions? Do we have any from our viewers?
Oh, right when you said that one came in. Why is the Senate considering SB 256 concealed permit amendments when Governor Herbert has already said he would not support the House version?
Senate Bill 256.
It's Dave Hinkins' bill.
Oh, okay.
Where's it at?
What is it?
Where's it at?
I will tell you.
Deer in the headlights.
It just got a fiscal now.
Did I miss a bill? Out of the 1,000?
It's constitutional carry, and I think it's still in rules, if I'm not mistaken.
It just got assigned to government ops, it looks like.
Okay.
See what happens with the committee.
I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's a good point.
President, maybe
Good
one
question, but we'll probably know more about that next couple of days. So watch us here Tuesday, Wednesday. We might have some more discussion on
Thanks for the heads up.
Just starting the process.
that. Yes.
We had a report that Senator Shiozawa and Representative Dunnigan took a little tour around the city in the Mountain Star Air Care Vehicle loft. I was just wondering if that portends more movement in the, coming together in your estimation, if you've heard anything to that end.
Probably not, well, maybe there's been some, there's obviously movement, but maybe not on the bill. But we encourage that kind of discussion wherever it can take place.
And
Real thing is was the governor with, or one of the governor's people flying that?
he couldn't get two better people than Representative Dunnigan and Senator Shiozawa.
Senator Hilliard, you were off the floor a good chunk of the day. I'm assuming doing budget stuff.
That's right, that's right.
Where are we on the budget generally in education? Are we honing in on a pupil increase yet?
We're starting the work to do that. I think we've now identified the revenue sources. Now the question gets to be to take all the prioritizations. I think I looked at it, the prioritizations came back to the committees over $1 billion, and we have about $300 million to spend. So now the issue is how we reallocate that and make those decisions. And all we know is we gotta have it done by Friday night.
When you say 300 million, are you talking ongoing?
Ongoing, I'm not worried about, one time to me is really stuff you do later.
But those requests are for ongoing funding?
Yes.
$300 million in ongoing funding requests.
I'm
you
just,
said?
no, requests are about $1 billion.
Oh,
The ongoing available money is about 300 million.
so you have $1 billion they want ongoing money, but you only have $300 million to give them.
Got it.
Okay.
Take a few zeros off, sounds like my children, right?
Sounds like the committee's found need.
Well, it's an interesting process because we as a Senate leadership have to come to some consensus, and then we have to work with the House with some consensus. And the governor's obviously going to be a player, so as we get that done, we'll visit with the governor's office, and then we have to go back and get our caucuses all to agree.
It's a fascinating process, like a root canal.
On both sides of your mouth.
Everyone do it in 5 days, not in...
One thing that's
Not
fun
in 6
though, I
months.
don't have a lot of people coming asking me for money because they know I say no.
Easy answer.
I assume you guys have decided, or at least at this point, aren't using the 94 million in transportation funding that the governor wanted moved out of the earmarks. So I don't think that's...
Come and see Friday night, see exactly where we are.
I got plans Friday night. Can you...
I guess you'll miss out then.
you'll miss out.
On that root canal?
No, that's from,
Now till
it's a week-long root canal to get there. No, it's a great process. I enjoy being part of it, and it's just it's the negotiation process between all three, the House, the Senate, and the governor.
Is it too early to talk about hotspots? I know you always talk about the
They're all hotspots.
principal salaries and
We met this morning for the first time just to become familiar with everybody's priorities, and so the hot spots should be obvious. You know, education's a hot spot, and boy, you know, we need to. There's a lot of social services needs, and some of the issues are going to be dependent on what happens to bills. You know, is it Healthy Utah? Is it Utah Cares? That both have a fiscal note. And so that'll be part of the discussion, but at the end of the day, they have to have votes in the House and the Senate to pass, and so we could fund them all day long, and if you don't get the votes, or the governor disagrees with something, then that appropriation dies. So those are the big issues we're still working on. Gas tax, transportation funding, all that, water funding, a lot of requests.
You got a lot of this coming down very, very late in the session. I mean, is it possible that none of this gets done?
You know, you call it late in the session.
You have
This-
10 days left.
But this is when these issues are really worked out, almost every year. The big issues, if there's not consensus, they're worked out in the last 10 days. And that's what will happen this year.
So pressure of deadlines.
It's not unusual, and this is pretty typical.
One of the great things is we passed our base budgets. So if everything else collapses, we can walk out of here with these base budgets to keep the state going.
I've seen more people come together on issues because of our deadline in the last 10 days, and probably this is a great process than any other process I've been involved in.
And there's a lot of preparation that goes on all during the off-season. As soon as the session's over, we start working on big issues for the following year, and so there's a lot that goes on all year long. It isn't something that we just do these last 10 days.
But it forces people to compromise a little more.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, any other questions? Thanks everyone for being here today, and thanks to those who are watching over the internet. And join us tomorrow.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hey, what happened?